Hey you guys, I just wanted to make this video really quickly about 2 tips for memorizing Bible verses. It's something that I've gotten back into the habit of doing and I wanted to share with you guys. With that being said, here is tip number 1. So as you may have noticed when reading through your Bible, there's oftentimes like lines or phrases or verses that are kind of visually formatted in such a way that's easy to take in the information. So when this happens, one thing I've noticed is that it's a lot easier, instead of trying to remember like every word at a time, instead to remember like a theme or the idea of whatever line you just read. For example, it could be just like one word like salvation or foundation or redemption that one verse or line was seeking to portray. And I think it's just a way that our brains are made that it's easier to intake that information than doing it any other way. Also, one thing to remember with that too, that if you're getting super worried about like memorizing every word exactly, and don't get me wrong here, it is important to be very exacting with the Word of God, but just keep in mind that there's a lot of translations of the Bible, so as long as you're getting the overall idea of what's going on, then you're on the right track. Yeah, so that's tip number 1. I guess a summary could be memorize themes of verses so that your brain can fill in the surrounding information. And that's what you'll find when you target one word or idea about a verse, you'll end up remembering the rest of it anyway. It's pretty cool. Okay, so tip number 2 is a fun one. I've often found that if you can try to make memorizing Bible verses somehow rhythmic or poetic, it can actually help you to memorize them more easily. Now, what exactly do I mean by this? So like, if you think about it, when you're listening to music, it's so easy for lyrics to get stuck in your head. I mean, we've all been there. Music, of course, is very rhythmic and poetic. This is kind of like that, just like a more stripped down version of it. Okay, so I'm probably totally gonna embarrass myself here, but to try to make this idea a little bit more concrete, I'll show you one of the ways I've tried to implement this idea in one of the Psalms I've been memorizing. So here goes. As for me, I shall behold your face in righteousness. When I awake, I shall be satisfied with your likeness. Oh gosh, I can't help but laugh at myself. Yeah, so that's Psalm 17:15. A lot of this probably is a little bit easier with the Psalms because a lot of it is, well, music. It's Hebrew poetry. And Christians of old would sing it. Would sing it aloud. Some Christians today will still sing it, which is pretty cool. We should do more of that. And so that's tip number 2, but before you go anywhere, I wanted to add in like one more bonus tip. So yeah, like one of the last things I've actually been doing to help me in memorizing Bible verses is I'll hang them up in my car. Basically, I'll write down a Bible verse on a piece of paper and I'll like tear it off so it's just a small bit of paper. And then I'll take it in my car, I'll use a little piece of tape, and then I'll just hang them up on my dashboard or on my steering wheel, somewhere that's like pretty easy to see them. Now, how is this effective? Well, as you can imagine, like whenever I step into my car, which I do all the time, I will see the Bible verse there. I'll look at it, and so maybe I'll look at it for a minute before I get going, and then I'll just start repeating it back to myself. And then as I'm driving to my destination, wherever that might be, I'll just repeat the verse back to myself. And by the time I get there, I usually have it memorized. So pretty cool, right? And then just to share kind of a little bit of what's happening on a deeper level there is basically my brain is being triggered by a visual cue. So that whenever I see a verse there, I kind of be reminded like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be memorizing Bible verses right now. So it's just another way that can help make this whole Bible memorization thing as easy as possible. Alright, so that's the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, a couple ways you can support me. If you wouldn't mind considering liking, commenting, sharing this video. As well, on my YouTube channel, if you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell icon. The bell icon will help notify you whenever I upload a video. And then finally, I've recently just started a Patreon page. So that's like a place where you can go to support me financially to help me do this more with my life. And that's gonna be at patreon.com/Ben Missingtone. All right, thanks again guys, and God bless.